Hey, we are doing now the study of crime typologies, CMY 3702. Okay, we're gonna move swiftly. We're gonna move swiftly to the contents. The contents as follows: is theme 1 to theme 5. Theme 1, Crime Textology, Study Unit 1, Crime Textology. Theme 2, Organized Crime, Study Unit 2, Organized Crime. Theme 3, Conversation Crime, Study Unit 3, Conversation Crime. Theme 4, White Collar Crime, Study Unit 4, is White Collar Crime. And Theme 5 is Public Order and Victimless Crime, Study Unit 5 is Public Order and Victimless Crime. So let's jump over to Study Unit 1. So we're going to move swiftly to Study Unit 1, which is on Theme 1. Let's move. Okay, we're starting now.
The guide is divided into VE themes as explained above. Multiple choice self-assessment questions follow at the end of each theme. The answers to these questions should help you to assess your progress and to achieve the learning and theme outcomes. There are no prescribed or recommended books for this course. Assignments tutorial letter 101 contains the assignments for this module. When you have handed in these assignments and passed them, you may write the examination. These assignments, comprising multiple choice questions, have been designed to promote the development of your knowledge, insights, values, attitudes and skills. Both the assignments and the examination will contain multiple choice questions. CMY 3702/11. 1 Theme 1. Crime Taxonomy CONTENTS of the Study Unit 1.1 Introduction 1.2 Definition of Concepts 1.3 Crime Classification 1.4 Contemporary Crime Categories 1.5 South African Crime Categories 1.6 Serious versus Priority Crimes in South Africa 1.6.1 South African Serious Crime Categories 1.6.2 South African Priority Crimes 1.7 Priority Crimes in Various Countries 1.8 Summary 1.9 Self-Assessment Questions 1.10 Answers to Self-Assessment Questions 1.11 References 2 Theme 1 Crime Taxonomy Study Unit 1 Study Unit 1 Crime Taxonomy Learning OBJECTIVES. After completing this study unit, you should be able to outline the reasons why crime is classified, distinguish between the South African Police Service and the Department of Correctional Services, broad crime categories, debate national and provincial crime trends in South Africa, highlight the priority crimes litigation unit S, focus on priority crimes in South Africa, compare American, Australian and England and Wales as differing and overlapping priority crimes. 1.1 INTRODUCTION countries all over the world have their own crime taxonomies, as well as special crime categories which are perceived as serious and / or priority crimes. Legal class. C. Cations of crime and criminal codes are established by a society, depending on what it perceives as socially damaging, and to serve as a stern threat to members of that society. Every society has a different and changing set of values, and what is judged a criminal act in one country may not meet the crime criteria in another country or even in the same society at a later date. Bartol and Bartol 2008:33. In South Africa, legislation determines what constitutes a criminal act. However, specific crime categories, for example contact versus property-related crimes, are stipulated by the South African Police Service, and crime statistics are interpreted and recorded nationally. Most South African offenders are violent and aggressive, as opposed to America where the majority of offenses are neither serious nor violent. Bartol and Bartol 2008:35, DCS website 2008. This study unit focuses on crime classification, South African crime categories, and national and international serious and priority crime trends. According to Stevens, 1990:127, and the SAPS 2012/13 Annual Report, 2012/13:114115, the identification of crime as the most important social problem in the study of social sciences led to its becoming one of the most important themes in the study of social science. For example, in South Africa there are many cases of murder and attempted murder. Therefore, knowledge and understanding of crime concepts is very important in order to combat and prevent crime, hence the definition of concepts below. CMY 3702/13 Study Unit 1, Crime Taxonomy 1.2 Definition of Concepts. Crime according to Stevens, 1990:128, and Snyman, 2008:4, crime, from a juridical approach, is a transgression of the law, and if the transgressor is found guilty by the court, the state may impose punishment. Crime patterns describe the incidence of the different types of crime in a specific year. For example, A contact crime, B contact-related crime, C property-related crime, and so on below. Stevens 1990:128, SAPS 2012/13 Annual Report 2012/13:114115. Crime trends are the increases and decreases in the different types of crime in a specific year. For example, in a one-contact crime, murder, the police report indicates that reports received 15609 in 2011/2012 and 16259 in 2012/2013. Therefore, the reported cases of murder increased by 650 cases. Stevens 1990:128, SAPS 2012/13. Annual Report 2012/13:114115. Crime statistics. Crime statistics are numbers that comprise all the information regarding crime, scientifically arranged and tabulated in order to give a total picture of the crime problem. For example, the police report shows the total number of complaints reported relating to murder in a one murder Stevens 1990:128, SAPS 2012/13 Annual Report 2012/13:114115. Crime classification in criminology. Crime classification refers to the division or arrangement of crime data into specific classes. Classification is based on the fact that data on certain crimes show definite underlying similarities, such as property taken without permission, i.e. property-related crimes. Herbig 2004:5556.1.3 Crime classification. Crime classification is necessary to determine a common factors shared by certain crimes, for example the use of violence and weapons, b. a data record of types of crimes, i.e. to develop crime database used for statistical analysis of crime trends and crime patterns, c. activities that constitute crimes, i.e. outline and stipulate acts that are considered criminal and against the law, d. answers as to why people commit particular crimes, i.e. to establish the motives for involvement in criminality, and e. crime prediction, i.e. to determine risk factors in respect of future involvement in crime and / or to predict crime trends according to geographical areas. The purpose and function of crime classification are, in essence, to gain an impression of various types of crime, permitting crime to be broken down into particular 1. Crime taxonom groups to reveal primary commonalities and ensure a richer understanding of crime typologies. Familiarity with particular crimes is vital for detecting, combating and preventing them. This means that the facts about certain crimes have to be ordered into particular classes based on similarities or common features. Herbig 2004:55. Classification can describe and explain an unchanging phenomenon in a community, facilitating its identification, clarification and prediction. Classification also provides a basis for the treatment and prevention of the specific phenomenon. The opposite also holds true, namely, that crimes that are vaguely classified and do not receive the deliberation they deserve are insufficiently addressed, as seems to be the case with natural resources or conservation crime. Herbig 2004:5556. Herbig 2004:5556 believes that failure to classify and / or recognize conservation crime as a unique crime category could promote rigid and ignorant perceptions of this type of crime among criminological scholars and conservation officials. Insight into conservation and conservation crime issues will therefore be impaired and underdeveloped. This lack of interest and consequent ignorance could cause an escalation in the general perception that natural resources crimes are unimportant and / or less pertinent than other forms of contemporary crime. Efficient crime classification should encompass the following: uniform criteria, comprehensiveness, simplicity, no ambiguity, durability, feasibility and applicability. Prospective crime classifiers should, however, remain aware of the fact that the parameters of certain forms of crime are still changing and that crime classification in such instances should proceed with caution. Herbig 2004:5556.1.4 Contemporary crime categories according to Herbig 2004:5556. An assessment of the criminological literature reveals a plethora of different viewpoints and approaches to crime classification / categorization. He lists a number of different methods for and approaches to crime. Classification, Borner S classification, economic, violent, sexual and political crimes. Stumpfless classification, heavy and light criminality, crimes committed at an early and late age. Concisity and habitual crimes. Carey S classification, violent crimes, conventional and professional crimes, political crimes, crimes against the social order and white-collar crimes. Schaffer S life trend typology, occasional criminals, habitual criminals, abnormal criminals and conventional criminals. Reed S. Typology, violent crimes, property crimes, business crimes, organized crime and terrorism. 1.5 South African crime. CATEGORIES. Different crime categories exist within the South African criminal justice system. For example, the South African Police Service, SAPS, classifies crimes differently from the Department of Correctional Service, DCS. According to the SAPS, the national broad categories of crime include contact crimes, contact-related crimes, property-related crimes, crimes heavily dependent on police action for detection, and CMY 3702/15 Study Unit 1, Crime Taxonomy of the Serious Crimes. The DCSS categories of crime include economic, aggressive, sexual, narcotics and other crimes. Table 1 SAPS 2012/13 Annual Report, 2012/13:114115, SAPS website 2007/2008 and different crime categories. DCSS Annual Report, 2012/2013:1213, DCS website 2008. SAPS 1. Contact crimes, common robbery, rape, attempted murder, robbery, aggravated assault, common murder, assault, GBH, indecent assault. 1. Economic, fraud, housebreaking and entering, and theft. 2. Contact-related crimes, arson and malicious damage to property. 2. Aggressive, murder and armed robbery. 3. Property-related crimes, burglary at residential and business premises, and theft of motor vehicles or from motor vehicles. 3. Sexual, all sex-related crimes, i.e. rape and indecent assault. 4. Crimes heavily dependent on police action for detection, illegal possession. Rearms and ammunition, drug-related crimes, and driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. 4. Narcotics, drug-related crimes. 5. Other serious crime, all theft not mentioned elsewhere, commercial crime and shoplifting. 5. Other, public disorder, some traffic crimes and bylaw offences. Interpretation problems may exist regarding the DCSS broad crime categories. For example, no distinction is made between types of sexual offences /crimes. Whether an offender is a paedophile, an infant rapist, a serial rapist or a gang rapist, or has committed an incest-related offense, the type of crime recorded in the DCSS, as well as on the offender's prison identity card, will merely stipulate sexual crime, with no further specification. The same is true in respect of criminals such as cash-in-transit robbers, ATM bombers, serial murderers, kidnappers and arsonists, who are all grouped together, irrespective of the type of violent and /or aggressive crime committed, under the broad crime category of aggressive crimes /offenses. without naming and / or specifying the crime. This means that unless an offender SAPS 69, i.e. an official police document that outlines specific current crimes committed as well as previous crimes committed, i.e. the criminal record, accompanies the offender to prison and is placed in the DCSSLA system, little is known about the nature, extent and circumstances of the crime. 16.1. Crime Taxonomy. Activity 1.1. Please note that Activity 1 is based on statistics. The most serious crimes South African Police Service 2012/13 Annual Report, Police Reports, Detection Rates, and Court Conviction Rates. Have a look at the excerpts from the South African Police Service 2012/13 Annual Report below and then answer the following questions. 1. Identify the crime trends in the total number of complaints reported, as well the total number of incomplete complaints for each crime under the following subheadings. 1. Police reports. 2. Police detection rates. And 3. Court convictions by subtracting GERS for 2011/12 from those of 2012/13. SAPS Annual Report 2012/13:114. 2. Identify crime patterns according to class under the following subheadings. 1. Total complaints reported. 2012/13 subtract 2011/12 GERS. 2. Police detection rates. 2012/13 subtract 2011/12. And 3. Court convictions by subtracting GERS for 2011/12 from those of 2012/13.3.1 SAPS according to Govender, 2012:12. The SAPS has been managed by various national commissioners, each with a different strategic leadership style. He goes on to emphasize that leadership is a mutual process involving both workers and leaders. After the launch of a new democratic South Africa in 1994, the then President Nelson Mandela appointed Major General George Fivaz as the RST National Commissioner. He served from 1995 to 1999. His mandate was to transform the police from a highly militarized, undemocratic structure and to introduce leadership with clear policies. He actively involved subordinates in the decision-making process, sharing problems and soliciting inputs from both the community and their superiors, Minister and Deputy Minister of Police. George Fivaz was followed by Jackie Sillaby. He became the new National Commissioner on the 1st of January, 2000. His mandate was to provide strategic leadership to the SAPS. Some of the highlights of his tenure include the following. He provided strict leadership and demanded certain things. His management team felt intimidated by his threats of being red. His provincial management used him as a role model to intimidate their subordinates to achieve their targets or face dismissal. He closed area structures and specialized units and increased the appointment of black senior officers. He was a leader who made decisions on his own and told his subordinates what to do. He became acquainted with all the top criminals being investigated for being involved in syndicate crimes by the SAPS Organized Crime Unit, Govender 2012:12. The state president suspended Sillaby in 2007. Soon afterwards he was charged with corruption, Govender 2012:12-13. T.C. Williams was appointed SAP's acting national commissioner from 2007 to 2009. He participated in strategic decision-making whenever possible. He left it up to his subordinates to make individual decisions on policing. Governor 2012:13. CMY 3702/17 Study Unit 1, Crime Taxonomy. On the 2nd of August, 2009, Pecky Hamilton Seal was appointed as the third National Commissioner of the SAPS after Jackie Sillaby. During his term of office, there was an increase in incidents of police brutality involving innocent citizens and criminal suspects alike. He urged the police to retaliate with the maximum force allowed by the law to defend themselves. The public protector also presented a report on the violation of tender procedures by him. He was relieved of his duties in 2010. Governor 2012:13. On the 24th of October, 2011, President Zuma appointed Lieutenant General Mlana Sibusiso Mkhwanazi as SAP's acting national commissioner. He served until 2012. After Mkhwanazi, President Zuma appointed a new and fourth national commissioner of the SAPS on the 12th of June, 2012, General Manwashi Victoria Filger. Do you remember Andries Tatane? Where did he live? What happened to him? What is your view on the cause of his death? Andries Tatane, a 33-year-old South African citizen, was killed during a service delivery protest in Vicksburg, Free State Province, in South Africa. 7 police officers were accused of his murder and assault. They were subsequently acquitted in the Vicksburg Regional Court because the state could not prove beyond reasonable doubt that they had killed Tatane. City Press, the 31st of March, 2013, SAPA, the 28th of March, 2013. On the 12th of June, 2012, President Jacob Zuma appointed General Manwashi Victoria Filger as the fourth National Commissioner of the SAPS, and she was welcomed by the then Minister of Police, Mr. Nathime Fethwa. At the time of her appointment, there were some who believed that she was not suitable for the position. Why do you think this was the case? What is your view regarding her appointment as Police Commissioner? It was during her term of office that, on the 16th of August, 34 mine workers were killed by the police and as many as 87 were injured. Some mine workers are still unaccounted for. Many mine workers were shot in the back. In the aftermath, the police arrested 260 mine workers. Allegations emerged that 190 of the arrested mine workers were tortured by the police. Hatting 2014-1. South African Police Service 2014:2, a commission of inquiry led by retired Judge Ian Gordon Farlam was appointed to investigate the Marikana incident. What is your opinion about the reasons for the killing of mine workers? 1. Police reports with regard to the total number of incomplete complaints below, Makeda and Rolofs. 2013:98, highlights some of the reasons why complaints may be incomplete. In a case study conducted in Nusina, Limpopo Province, they mention the failure of witnesses to testify and acquittal of suspects. Failure of witnesses to testify. The researchers found the following facts. 18.1. Crime taxonomy. 18% of reported cases of burglary were withdrawn because witnesses did not arrive at court to testify. 9% of reported cases of burglary were withdrawn by the complainants when their stolen property was found and they were not interested in pursuing the matter any further. In 6 of the reported cases of burglary, Zimbabweans were the suspects and they were released on bail. Subsequently they disappeared and could not be traced. The cases were later dropped. 2 of the reported cases were withdrawn because the witnesses had died, and in 1 case the suspect had also died. Another 2 cases were withdrawn because suspects were minors. Makeda and Roloffs 2013:98. Acquittal of suspects in 1,68% of reported cases of residential burglary. The accused was acquitted because the suspect could not be linked to the crime, despite the fact that the suspect was seen at the crime scene and was found in possession of the stolen property taken during the burglary. Makeda and Roloffs 2013:98. CLASS total number of complaints reported. Total number of complaints incomplete 11/1212/13 increase/decrease. Plus or minus 11/1212/13 increase/decrease. Plus or minus a contact crime. 1 murder 15 60,916 25,928 23,724 712. 2 attempted murder 14 85,916 3636 39159763 robbery with AG. Gravating circumstances 101 203,105 88,832 97,531 2,534 common robbery 52 98,053 5407 3886 9755 assault GBH 192 651,185 89,321 13,418 7,386 common assault 181 670,172 90,923 98,221 481 7 sexual offences 58 21,263 05717 10915 414 CMY 3702/19 Study Unit 1 Crime Taxonomy. CLASS total number of complaints reported. Total number of complaints incomplete 11/1212/13 increase/decrease. Plus or minus 11/1212/13 increase/decrease. Plus or minus B. Contact-related crimes, crimes against property, 1 arson 641860641 4851 379. 2 malicious damage to property 221,121 11,312 14,611 548. C. Property-related crime 1 burglary residential 245 531,262 11,333 63,033 3,302 burglary non-resi Dental 7041736309, 2549 4963 theft of motor. Vehicle / Cycle 5909758, 37028 78,727 9624 theft from motor vehicle 13475,139 65,811 39,311 3,335 stock theft 3094,929 8946 1355 216. D. Crime heavily dependent on police detection. 1. Illegal possession of firearms and ammunition 1446,114 8728611 3462 Drug-related crime 176307,206 8257537583 Driving under the influence 69 44171 0659251 775. 10 Theme 1 Crime Taxonomy. Police reports total number of complaints reported. Total number of complaints incomplete 11/1212/13 increase /decrease plus or minus 11/1212/13 increase /decrease plus or minus 1 theft, OTHR 377,432,362 81,653 88,353 1962 Fraud 88,05091 56,939 94,241 690. 3 Shoplifting 71 84,871 309 388 4362 Police crime detection rate with regard to reported cases, Makeda and Rolofs, 2013:93, analyzed cases of burglary in the Musina area, Limpopo province. The aim was to establish whether Zimbabweans were the main perpetrators of burglaries. Of cases reported to the police, about 76% were closed as undetected. Reasons given were that the suspects were unknown, no arrest had been made, and that the available resources could not trace and detect the suspects in question. The implication is that there is a high probability that perpetrators may not be arrested, and this may encourage perpetrators to commit more crime. On the other hand, this may also discourage victims from reporting cases. Makeda and Rolofs 2013:93. Class detection rate 11/1212/13 increase /decrease plus or minus a contact crime. 1 murder 12,29,511 928. 2 attempted murder 986,010 1873 robbery with aggravating circumstances 30 55,600 34,894 common robbery 21 51,000 27,705 assault GBH 168 385,160 999 CMY 3702/111 Study Unit 1 Crime Taxonomy. Class detection rate 11/1212/13 increase/decrease ±6 common assault 159,746,149 2,757 sexual offences 47 22,357 61B. Contact-related crimes. Crimes against property, 1 arson 33053 2 malicious damage to property 6607664690C. Property-related crime 1 burglary residential 54 22,554 5,492 burglary non-residential 13 91,114 2,073 theft of motor vehicle /cycle 82467 5984 theft from motor vehicle 15 96,316 1035 stock theft 9 5469 538D. Crime heavily dependent on police detection 1 illegal POS session of firearms earned. Ammunition 14 76,315 6,902 drug-related crime 176025206 6603 driving under the influence 69 45,471 777 12 Theme 1 Crime Taxonomy. Class detection rate 11/1212/13 increase/decrease ±e other serious crime 1 theft, other, 135034129 2 fraud 46 58,747 004 3 shoplifting 71 64,571 2,903 court convictions. Conviction rate of burglaries in respect of conviction rates, Machader and Roelofs, 2013:98, analyzed the SAPS Annual Report, 2008/2009. And found that the conviction rates for residential burglaries were at 21,8%, 2007/2008, and 23,02%, 2008/2009. For non-residential burglaries the conviction rates were at 22,7%, 2007/2008, and 23,4%, 2008/2009. In the case study of both the residential and non-residential burglaries it was found that in 10 out of 237 cases reported the evidence gathered and presented in court resulted in convictions, Machader and Roelofs 2013:98. The use of forensic analysis in 27% of recorded cases perused for the study of forensic evidence. The suspect's prints and tool marks were found at the crime scene although the suspects had not been arrested. Machader and Roelofs 2013:98. In 7,59% of the cases reported the owners had cleaned and or had zooed their properties before forensic officers arrived. This was due to the fact that they were scared that the suspects would come back. Others claimed that they were not aware that they ought not to have cleaned and zooed the buildings before the forensic expert had come. A factor that may have caused the owners to clean or X their property was the time lapse between the time when the crime was reported and the time when the forensics team arrived at the crime scene. This fact was not specified in the case dockets. Makeda and Rolofs 2013:99. In 6,32% of cases, the police failed to summon forensic analysts to the crime scenes of burglaries. Makeda and Rolofs 2013:98. Unavailability of witnesses. According to the research, only in 33,75% of the reported cases were there witnesses who had information. A number of witnesses were not prepared to testify in court, while others did not turn up in court. Unfortunately, no reason for witnesses not testifying was given in the case dockets. Makeda and Rolofs 2013:100. CMY 3702/113 Study Unit 1, Crime Taxonomy. Class conviction rate 11/1212/13 increase/decrease plus or minus a contact crime. 1 murder 45,836,372. 2 attempted murder 18122-6033 robbery with aggravating circumstances 51707. 4544 common robbery 34594, 2805 assault GBH 2845,031 2496 common assault 2872,227 7407 sexual offences 668,512 324B. Contact-related crimes. Crimes against property, 1 arson 294388. 2 malicious damage to property 88,239,554 Property-related crime 1 burglary residential 12,40,115 2,232 burglary non-residential 35834 5743 theft of motor /CLE/cycle 15051 9274 theft out of /from motor vehicle 27703 3515 stock theft 15332 015. 14 Theme 1, Crime Taxonomy. Class conviction rate 11/1212/13 increase/decrease plus or minus D. Crime heavily dependent on police detection. 1 illegal possession of firearms and ammunition 44105. 5772 drug-related crime 96,927,116 7,763 driving under the influence 13,078,12244 Other serious crime 1 theft, other 25 11,828 3,142 fraud 14 51,017 234 3 shoplifting 43 74,743 3,141.6 serious versus priority crimes in South Africa according to Kotz and Stridham 2008:20, and Pritos, 2008:81, crime is one of South Africa's most serious problems. South Africa is experiencing high crime rates, including violent crimes such as murder, attempted murder, robbery, assault, common and grievous bodily harm, GBH, hijackings, mutilation of victims and rape. In South Africa, the focus on serious and priority crimes has constantly shifted since the 1980s. During the 1980s, bank robberies and political crimes, i.e. violent unrest and politically motivated killings, were perceived as serious crimes. During the 1990s, the focus shifted to vehicle hijackings, taxi violence, crimes involving rearms, and women and child abuse. With the new millennium, attention shifted to crimes such as cash in transit and armed robberies, and currently the focus of South Africa's crimes include ATM bombings, terrorism, missing persons, human and child trafficking, environmental crimes and corruption. 1.6.1 South African serious crime categories. The SAPS distinguishes between the following serious crime types. SAPS Annual Report 2012-2013, SAPS website 2012/2013 Contact crimes, robbery, common and aggravating, rape, attempted murder, assault, common, murder, assault, GBH, indecent assault, contact-related crimes, arson and malicious damage to property, property-related crimes, burglary at residential premises, burglary at non-residential premises, theft of motor vehicles or from motor vehicles. CMY 3702/115 Study Unit 1. Crime Taxonomy. Crimes heavily dependent on police action for detection, illegal possession of rearms and ammunition, drug-related crime, driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Other serious crimes, all theft not mentioned elsewhere, including theft of cell phones and garden tools, commercial crime, and shoplifting. Subcategories of aggravated robbery, carjacking, truckjacking, cash-in-transit robberies, bank robbery, robbery at residential premises, and robbery at business premises. Contact crime frequently affects victims in one or a combination of the following ways. SAPS Annual Report 2012/2013, SAPS website 2012/2013 Death as an immediate or delayed result of the degree of violence used. Injuries of various degrees, including permanent, disabling injuries, psychological trauma, which may also be of a permanent nature, loss of and or damage to property. Contact crime GERS for 2012/2013 compared to data recorded during 2011/2012 show an overall increase of 2.10%. Noteworthy during the current reporting period. 2012/2013 is an increase of 4.63% in robbery, aggravating, and 4.16% in the incidents of murder. During 2006/2007 these crimes increased by 4.6%, robbery aggravating, and 2.4%, murder, respectively. Detailed docket, geographical and timeline analyses of contact crimes corroborate that at least 2/3 of all contact crimes are strongly related to alcohol and other substance abuse and are mainly associated with informal settlements in mega townships. SAPS Annual Report 2007-2008, SAPS Annual Report 2012-2013, SAPS website 2007/2008. Although accounting for only 5.0% of contact crime and 2.0% of all serious crimes, the increases in some of these subcategories are of extreme concern. When 2012/2013 crime GERS are compared with those of 2000/2012, the following increased statistics are noteworthy. The trio crimes, robbery at business premises, robbery at residential premises, carjacking and truck hijacking, increased 44,31742 equals to 125 by 5,04%. It is interesting to note that 66% of all aggravated robberies are street/public robberies, and that most of these robberies occur in central business areas and the black mega townships, for example Kailitsha, Kwamashu, Umlazi and Nyanga. Ordinary people are robbed of their money, cell phones or other valuables at gun or knife point. Car hijackings and house robberies most frequently occur in the more affluent suburbs of Gauteng, for example Sandton, Honeydew, Douglasdale, Brooklyn and Garsfontein. SAPS Annual Report 2007-2008, SAPS website 2007/2008. Some contact crimes are social or domestic in nature and occur in social environments, i.e. in the privacy of homes. Social contact crimes include sexual offenses, for example rape, assault, whether GBH, common or indecent, murder and attempted murder. These crimes generally occur between people who know each other, i.e. friends, acquaintances and relatives. Docket analyses indicate that 89% of both assault, GBH, and common assault cases, 82% of murders, and 76% of rapes in the sample that was studied, involved people who knew each other. 59% of the attempted murders occurred under similar circumstances. SAPS Annual Report 2012/13:112, SAPS website 2012/2013. According to the former Minister of the Department of Correctional Services, Mr. Sibusiso Ndebele, MP, offender population outlay, the total inmate population of South Africa was 150,608. Of these, 45,730, 30,4%, were remand detainees and 16.1. Crime taxonomy. 104,878 were sentenced offenders. When the National Offender Population Prowler of September 2012 is viewed, it is found that many offenders were detained for the following crime categories: economic, aggressive, sexual and narcotics. What is alarming is that perpetrators sentenced to life imprisonment increased from about 400 in 1994 to more than 11,000 in 2013. More than a third of those incarcerated were youth. Children young as 17 years of age have committed serious crimes. DCS website 2012/13:1213. 1.6.2 South African priority crimes. The prioritization of crimes may differ from one country to the next, from city to city, town to town and suburb to suburb. Prioritization may even differ in urban and rural settings. Priority crimes are committed in the community and have real consequences for the population who live with the threat of crime, as the likelihood is that anyone can become a victim of crime and may suffer financial or physical harm as a result or even loss of life. May 2004:510. Priority crimes are determined by consulting various crime information sources, for example off-seal crime data from the police, judicial and prison statistics, crime surveys, self-reporting studies and media reports. A listing of priority crimes ensures more responsive police focus and action. Community projects, for example neighborhood watch programs, and the installation of more sophisticated crime prevention measures, for example electronic fencing, alarm systems and cameras. May 2004:7. Post 1994. The South African Crime Prevention Plan identified the following national priority crimes. May 2004:9 Crimes involving rearms, for example armed robbery, white-collar crimes, for example corruption, bribery, blackmail, embezzlement, computer crime, tax evasion, fraud, and theft by people in responsible positions, crimes against women and children, for example rape and domestic violence, violence related to intergroup and political differences, for example xenophobia and political killings, with political motives, vehicle theft and hijackings, paramilitary activities in response to the above priority crimes. The Priority Crimes Litigation Unit, PCLU, was created on the 23rd of March, 2003 by Presidential Proclamation. The PCLU is a specialist prosecution unit of the National Prosecuting Services, NPS, and the unit manages and directs investigation and prosecution of the following priority crimes: proliferation of nuclear and other weapons of mass destruction, proliferation of conventional, military, weapons, for example transferring military equipment without the requisite conveyance permits, all forms of terrorism, mercenary and foreign military assistance and activities, plots to overthrow a government, the Statute of Rome, International Criminal Court, intelligence-related activities, prosecutions arising from the work of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, TRC, the Missing Persons Project, i.e. persons who disappeared as reported by the TRC, excavations and exhumations. CMY 3702/117 Study Unit 1, Crime Taxonomy. Selected Civil Claims NPS, Mutual Legal Assistance and Extradition, Legal Research and Furnish Legal Opinions, Ackerman 2007:23, 1.7 Priority Crimes in various COUNTRIES. All countries, to a greater or lesser extent, have crime problems. Countries that experience few problems with crime are characterized either by a homogeneous population such as Japan, or by inhumanly severe penalties for offenses. In the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, for example, a thief's hand will be cut off. Violent crimes such as murder and rape are punished by decapitating the offender by sword in public. Would you support the introduction of such stringent measures in South Africa? International, as well as South African, views of certain types of crime may differ and / overlap. For example, most countries perceive crimes such as terrorism, missing persons, human and child trafficking, cybercrimes, environmental crimes, certain economic crimes, drug-related offenses, murder / homicide, sexual crimes, crimes against and perpetrated by children, i.e. child abuse, school violence, and property-related crimes as immediate social and criminal threats and problems, depending on current socio-economic, religious, military and other concerns. Although these crimes represent a global threat to humanity, not all are perceived as priority crimes. The following section highlights statistics of serious crimes in America, Australia, England and Wales. American crime statistics reveal that serious crimes include murder, rape, robbery and aggravated assault. The United States Crime Rates Index per 100,000 inhabitants ANTS for 2007 indicate murder 56, rape 30, robbery 1476, and aggravated assault 283,8. United States crime rates 1960-2007. Australian crime statistics list homicide, assault, sexual assault, robbery and kidnapping as serious crimes. Crime statistics for 2005 to 2006 reveal that most of these crimes are on the increase. Assault represents the majority of recorded violent crimes during this period. Australian Crime Facts and Figures 2007:89. Crime statistics for England and Wales reveal that homicide, general violent and sexual crimes, serious wounding, common assault, robbery, vandalism and drug offences are perceived as serious crime phenomena. Violent crime remained stable in 2006/2007 compared to 2005/2006. Recorded crime GERS show a 1% drop in violence against the person, a 7% drop in sexual offences, a 3% increase in robbery, and a 10% increase in vandalism during 2006/2007 compared to 2005/2006. Nicholas, Kershaw and Walker 2007:11. Activity 1.2 Try to end European, United States and Australian crime statistics for the international crime categories discussed in section 1.7. Compare the European crime statistics with the South African and American crime statistics. 18 Theme 1. Crime Taxonomy 1.8 SUMLARY. This study unit reviewed the need for crime classifications and outlined major differences in international and South African crime trends and crime categories. The focus on different and overlapping national and international crime trends was highlighted with respect to murder/homicide, sexual crimes, terrorism, crimes committed against and by children, and environmental crimes that are mostly common. Global crime threats to humanity, albeit not necessarily perceived as priority crimes. In most countries, serious social and crime problems are determined by studying the crime statistics per crime category. In this regard, the crime statistics of America, Australia, and England and Wales revealed that crimes such as murder/homicide, rape, robbery and aggravated assault are universal, serious and priority crimes. 1.9 Self-assessment questions. Question 1. Crimes such as selected civil claims, missing persons, nuclear crimes and weapons of mass destruction are perceived as which one of the following crimes? 1.1 Priority. 1.2 Serious. 1.3 Global priority. 1.4 Military intelligence driven. Question 2 Crime classification refers to one of the following options. 2.1 The categorization of types of crimes in order to differentiate between crime data, crime statistics and legal definitions representative of criminal acts. 2.2 The connection between types of crime in order to separate crime data, crime statistics and legal definitions representative of criminal acts. 2.3 The distribution or arrangement of crime data into precise classes based on the fact that data on certain crimes show distinct fundamental similarities. 2.4 The partition or arrangement of crime data into segments representative of legal definitions of criminal acts, according to recorded crime statistics. Question 3 Murder, rape, robbery and aggravated assault are perceived as priority crimes in one of the following countries. 3.1 Australia. 3.2 England. 3.3 America. 3.4 South Africa. Question 4 cash-in-transit robberies are linked to one of the following crime categories. 4.1 Property-related. 4.2 Non-contact. 4.3 Aggravated robbery. 4.4 Social fabric. CMY 3702/119 Study Unit 1. Crime Taxonomy. Question 5 The following factors are strongly related to all contact crimes. 5.1 Brutality and a disregard for human life. 5.2 Alcohol and other substance abuse. 5.3 Poverty and unemployment. 5.4 Substance abuse and child abuse. Question 6 Inhumanly severe penalties for offences occur in which one of the following countries? 6.1 South Africa. 6.2 America. 6.3 Saudi Arabia. 6.4 Botswana. Question 7 Socially motivated contact crimes include which of the following crimes? 7.1 Murder, rape and robbery. 7.2 Murder, rape and assault. 7.3 Murder, rape and car hijacking. 7.4 Murder, rape and vehicle theft. Question 8 The Priority Crimes Litigation Unit, PCLU, is a specialist unit located within the 8.1 Department for Serious Crimes. 8.2 National Prosecuting Authority, Serious Crimes Division. 8.3 National Prosecuting Service, Priority Crimes Division. 8.4 South African Police Service. Question 9 Crimes heavily dependent on police action for detection include 9.1 Illegal possession of rearms, drug-related crime, driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs, and rape. 9.2 Drug-related crime, driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs, rape and prostitution. 9.3 Illegal possession of rearms and ammunition, drug-related crime, driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. 9.4 Corruption of police officials, prostitution, drug-related crime, driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Question 10 According to which crime categories does the Department of Correctional Services categorize offenders? 10.1 Violent and serious crimes, narcotics, economic and sexual crimes. 10.2 Economic, sexual, narcotics, aggressive, and other crimes. 10.3 Sexual, violent, robbery, narcotics and other crimes. 10.4 Robbery, sexual, serious contact, narcotics and economic crimes. 20 Theme 1. Crime Taxonomy. Question 11 Debate and outline the different crime categories used by the SAPS and the DCS and discuss possible interpretation problems pertaining to these crime categories. 20. Question 12 Outline the role, function and foci of the PCLU. 15. Question 13 Explain why it is necessary to classify crime. Provide relevant examples for each fact that is discussed. 10. Question 14 BRIESSY Outline national and international foci on different crimes. 10. Question 15 Compare property-related crimes with subcategories of aggravated robbery. 10. 1.